So 14 years ago, the City of St. John's began collecting recycling curbside. And over that time, there's continued to be a lot of discussion around recycling and questions about it. So joining me here is Shelley Pardy, supervisor of Waste Diversion with the City of St. John's. Thank you for joining us, Shelley.
Thank you for inviting me, Mayor Breen.
So why should we recycle?
Well, we should recycle because ultimately it saves space in the landfill. Landfills are expensive to operate and even more expensive to close out once they're at their end of life. So the longer we can keep the landfill going for what is truly garbage is the better. Also, it saves precious natural resources. So recycling an item uses, whether it's plastic made from oil or a pop can made from aluminum, it can use it over and over again rather than just throwing that in the landfill and that can never ever be used again. And we have to create products from raw virgin materials, which is really resource intensive. You're thinking about mining or drilling for oil.
One of the things that there's a lot of interest in is what happens to recycling once it's collected. And a lot of people, some skeptics still say, does it really get recycled?
So what we pick up at the curb in St. John's and what is brought to the materials recovery facility at Robin Hood Bay, anything brought to that facility, of all of the items brought there, only 3% are not recycled because they're unrecyclable products. It's garbage people put in or something they thought was recyclable but was not. So all of the blue bags we and other communities in the region collect at the curb are processed at our recycling facility. So the 97% left that is truly recyclables, we sort them into different types and then we bale them together and sell them to markets where people actually recycle them. So for our products that we collect at the curb, all of our metals, so our steel or tin cans and our aluminum cans, they're all recycled in Quebec. Most of our plastics are recycled in Ontario, and all of our paper products, cardboard and that such, that is recycled right in Atlantic Canada and actually comes back to us in the form of paper egg cartons or the paper drink tray takeout trays.
So glass is a good example. So people often ask, why can't we recycle everything?
Well, you know, we do accept a lot of household products. Really a lot of your common household packaging materials we do collect at the curb. There are some things that we don't take, which you mentioned glass. We also don't take styrofoam or plastic film. There's a lot of reasons for those things. But I just want to back it up for a second to say, before we started our curbside recycling 14 years ago and built our recycling facility, we did travel and phone calls across the country asking places like Halifax or Toronto or Vancouver that have been recycling for years, if they could start again, what would they do differently? So they told us don't take glass, styrofoam, or plastic bags. So part of that reasoning is markets. They're not strong markets for glass or styrofoam or plastic film. As well, all of those items do cause damage to the sorting equipment inside the recycling facility. And it then also can contaminate every other product you have. So again, we bale our items together, like a bale of aluminum, a bale of cardboard, a bale of plastic. If we took glass or plastic bag, there would be those items in all those, which would devalue the product to who buys our recycling product.
What are some of the other ways that we can divert waste from the landfill?
Absolutely. So we do have lots of ways to do it. I just want to talk about the way our mode of production has been set up in the world. It's kind of a take, make, waste. So that's the way our economy has been set up. It's a linear economy. So we take from the earth, we make something from it, and then we use it and throw it away. In the 70s, they came out with the 3 R's, reduce, reuse, recycle. So it's not just about recycling, and reduce is the first one because that is the most important thing you can do, is to reduce the amount of waste you produce. Then to reuse items instead of throwing it away. And then of course, recycling is the last option. It's very important, it works, it's going well, but really the most emphasis is on reducing and reusing. Then throughout the years, other people have added other R's. You may have heard of refuse or recover or redistribute. So there's sort of a new concept that's not the linear economy, but people are calling it the circular economy. So it kind of takes all of those R's concepts and puts it together saying we can take from the earth, but then we have to keep it going in a circular movement. So we're constantly reducing, reusing, recycling, redistributing, recovering with very little, if any, waste product. So that is the concept now of the circular economy. And that can be applied to you and your personal habits at home, or governments, or businesses. It can be done on any scale. So if you backyard compost, and a lot of people in St. John's do backyard compost, they are applying a circular economy method to their food waste. And so on the City of St. John's level, we've done something similar with our yard waste. So we, since 2018, have been letting residents know if they put yard waste at the curb, it has to be in the paper yard waste bags. We are bringing it to Robin Hood Bay, but it's not going in landfill. It is getting composted. And so we're composting that. And now, just like you at home would compost and return those important nutrients back to the soil, we are going to return the nutrients back to the soil from our yard waste by redistributing it back to the communities.
Thank you, Shelley, for being able to join us and giving us an overview of what happens with recycling and what we're doing here in the capital city and in the region. We'll be right back with Shelley, who will show us some of the ways that we can recycle and some of the items that you may not know are recyclable. Welcome back. We often get asked what is recyclable and what's not recyclable. So Shelley is back to join us, and she's going to take us through some of the examples.
Thank you. So what we've here are some common household recyclables. We at the Curb in St. John's require you bag container recyclables separate from paper recyclables. So for the containers, it's basically plastics, metals, and then your milk cartons and juice boxes and juice packs. So lots of things. Milk cartons are in containers. Often milk cartons are made of paper and waxes and other things, but people think paper and they put them in the papers. It's okay if you do, we'll take care of it, but we really need it in here. That would be more efficient. So lots of plastic containers. Most things that we recycle had food, drink, or cleaning supplies in it. So whether it's your floor cleaner cleaning supply when that bottle's empty, or even things like your hand soaps or shampoos.
So anytime you have a container, it needs to be rinsed.
Absolutely want to rinse it. Anything that did contain food, by the time you recycle it, put it at the curb, we collect it, we sort it, then we send it off to markets. We don't want any food spoilage because that could contaminate the load.
Okay, how about the aluminum cans? Can you crush those, or do you just leave them as they are?
It's super fun to crush them, but for the recycling sorting process, we don't want anything crushed or flattened. So when your blue bags come to the recycling facility, we essentially rip open all the blue bags and throw them onto a conveyor belt. And as the conveyor belt goes by, there's different staff people who have to pick up the items off the conveyor belt and put them in the correct pile. So when an aluminum can is crushed or when a milk carton is flattened, it becomes really difficult to pick that up off of the line as it's going by when you're wearing the big, heavy protective gloves. So if you can, we really want it to remain whole.
So when we come to the paper, so you have a bag that you keep your paper products in. Is there some paper products that aren't acceptable?
Not really. Most are, but when you look at anything that has sort of a lining in it, so there's a great question. I'm just going to sort of jump ahead a little bit to our do not. So, takeout cups are made with paper, but there's a wax or a plastic lining in them.
Yeah.
So that's sort of a paper product. That's not. Same thing, you'll get sort of flavor packs in things you order, and it looks like a paper thing, but inside it's a lining of a metal. So they're mixed products, so we can't recycle them.
I know the chip bags aren't allowed in because my wife corrected me last night.
Just last night, hey? Yeah, no, she's absolutely right. Be sure to tell her that. So for paper products, mostly everything can be recycled. Again, if there's some food, so this is just from a takeout spot. It's made of paper, and it can be recycled. I just wiped a little bit of the sauce that was on it. But the things that can't be recycled that we often get asked about, glass, people ask about glass, a Ziploc bag, or this had bread in it, or vegetables and stuff like that. None of that can currently be recycled. But there may be good news for you. There is something called Extended Producer Responsibility, or EPR, that is sort of in place in some places in Canada. Extended Producer Responsibility for paper packaging, paper products and packaging, sorry. And with that, it's been in BC for a few years, brought into Ontario last year and into New Brunswick earlier this year. It's It's making inroads in other provinces, and we're looking at it and talking about it here in Newfoundland and Labrador. So what that does is it makes the producers of the products and the packaging responsible for their proper disposal or recycling. So in some other places in Canada where this has come in, the producers are responsible for the disposal of their packaging, not necessarily just what we accept for recycling now.
So, but over time, I mean, there are being products that weren't recyclable, and that now they've been replaced by packaging that is recyclable. So in case of straws, for example, they used to be plastic straws, now we have paper straws in a lot of cases.
Absolutely. I thought I did have a paper straw here as well. If you use the paper straw, so the wrapping on the paper straw, you can throw in with your paper recycling.
Right.
But now with the straw, when you use it, even if you throw it in the garbage, it will break down better, the paper straws, than the plastic ones.
Okay.
If you get a paper straw from somewhere and you don't use it, you can throw that right into the paper recycling as well.
So the other thing to remember is that we have an app that we use that you can also access to get information on recycling. So people should download the Curbit app?
Absolutely. So we have an app for Apple and Android called Curbit St. John's. And as well, we have a website, curbitstjohns.ca. On both the app and the website, you can search the Waste Wizard. So we do have recycling information there that you can see pictures of products, but we can't possibly put every single product on our website or on a piece of paper. So we have a search function called the Waste Wizard where you can type in what you're looking for and then we give you the result of how to best dispose of it.
So whenever you have anything in doubt, you can check your app first and then see what can be done.
Absolutely.
Well, Shelley, this has been great, and thank you for the information. And of course, if anybody needs any further information, they can check our website, and they can also make sure you download the app so that you have that information at your fingertips. That's it for now. Thank you very much.